So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time.
Oh, Mr. Diddy, aka Mr. Love. Now, Dr.
No,
Love.
Sean Carter.
Jay. Okay.
During my trial, look at me in my face telling me, yo, don't worry about it, bro. I got you. And I never see him again.
Let's be honest. When Diddy got arrested, the whole industry froze for a second. But deep down, was anyone really surprised? Some insiders are whispering that this might not just be karma catching up, it could be something way deeper. Word on the streets is that this might have been a setup, and not by some random enemy either. People are saying Jay-Z himself could have had a quiet hand in how everything unfolded. Can you imagine that? One of the biggest power players in music possibly turning on his own so-called brother. It all started when Diddy suddenly packed his bags and headed back to New York. At first, everyone thought it was a smart business move, like he was getting ready to face whatever was coming his way. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, even tried to keep things calm, saying, Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, a self-made entrepreneur, and he voluntarily relocated to New York in anticipation of these charges. Sounds neat and tidy, right? But the way it went down didn't look random at all. When agents stormed that Manhattan hotel, Diddy didn't resist. No shouting, no drama, just calm energy. Almost too calm. For a man who's been dancing around serious controversy for years, that smooth arrest looked way too organized. Something about it felt staged, like the script had already been written before he even stepped into the room. The moment Diddy got taken in, fans exploded with one big question. How did he get caught so easily? Instantly, theories started flying everywhere. People are saying Diddy knew the storm was coming, but still walked straight into the lion's den like he trusted something or someone. Maybe he thought he could clear his name or work out some secret deal. And who could convince him of that? Only someone powerful, someone he actually trusted. Someone like Jay-Z. For years, their connection has been this complicated mix. Half brotherhood, half rivalry. Jay once said, we push each other. It's a natural competitiveness. But what happens when that competitiveness turns into something colder, something strategic? What if Jay saw the pressure closing in on Diddy and decided to make his move, to protect his position at the top of the game? One story making rounds online goes like this. A stressed out Diddy gets a quiet call from Jay-Z. Maybe Jay tells him there's a way out. A private meeting, a chance to settle things quietly. Diddy, desperate to save his empire, takes the bait and flies to New York. But instead of a deal, he walks into a setup. The hotel's packed with agents, and within minutes, he's surrounded. Meanwhile, Jay stays calm, untouched, still running the industry from his throne. So did Jay really tip someone off, or did he just step aside and let the fall happen, knowing it would clear his path to total control? That silence, that cool distance, says everything, because Jay's road to billionaire status didn't come without shadows. His story's built on power moves whispered, not spoken. Jay-Z's career has always been full of those sudden power moves, partnerships appearing overnight, quiet exits that somehow left him untouched while everyone else took the hit. He's mastered the art of walking away right before things blow up. That's not luck, that's pure strategy. But maybe, just maybe, the betrayal Diddy's facing didn't all come from Jay's direction. Because his own inner circle, that's where things get real messy. Diddy surrounded himself with people who owed him everything: fame, fortune, opportunity. But when money and power are on the table, loyalty tends to vanish fast. Word is, some of the same people he trusted most are now cooperating with investigators, feeding them inside details just to protect their own names. Cold, right? And honestly, it wouldn't be the first time loyalty got traded for immunity in this kind of game. For years, Diddy's empire has been clouded with lawsuits, public accusations, and private settlements that never quite disappeared. But now, insiders are saying some of those same folks, the ones who partied with him, flew private jets with him, smiled in pictures, might be the very ones testifying against him. That's wild. And here's what's got fans talking: the timing. If the feds had info for months, why wait till now? Some think they held back on purpose, giving Diddy's team just enough time to turn on him and secure their own protection. It's betrayal wrapped in silence, and it's playing out like a movie. Some people believe the betrayal ran so deep that Diddy was even nudged toward that doomed trip to New York. By the time he landed, it was already too late. Game over. So what really went down? Was Diddy set up by his friends, played by his rivals, or completely outsmarted by a system he thought he could control? Whatever the truth is, this wasn't just an arrest. It was a calculated move. one that shifted power across the entire music world overnight. And there's one name that keeps lighting up every headline: Rodney Lil Rod Jones. Once part of Diddy's inner circle, he's now suing him and spilling details that have Hollywood holding its breath. Jones didn't just throw out random claims. He came with shocking receipts, saying Diddy had hidden cameras in his homes catching high-profile celebs, execs, and athletes in moments that could end careers. He says there's secret footage powerful enough to blow the entire industry wide open. According to Lil Rod, Diddy allegedly kept recordings from private parties and closed-door meetings, creating a vault full of sensitive material. And now, many believe that's the real reason the arrest went down. Not just to take Diddy out, but to make sure those tapes never ever see daylight again. Whispers say Jay-Z and other major players were determined to keep that footage buried permanently. Because imagine the chaos if even one clip leaked. It wouldn't just ruin reputations, it could rewrite the entire power structure of entertainment. But maybe this wasn't just about hiding evidence. Maybe it was about strategy. Maybe Jay and a few others saw the perfect chance to quietly remove Diddy from the chessboard, letting the authorities handle him while they stayed spotless on top. Cold, precise, and brilliant. And if this theory holds weight, the timing fits too perfectly to be coincidence. Cassie's lawsuit settling right before Diddy's properties got raided? Come on, that timing's way too perfect to be coincidence. The streets are convinced this wasn't random at all. When whispers started spreading about Jay-Z's quiet connections behind the scenes, it suddenly looked less like bad luck and more like a full-on chess move. A powerful player sacrificed so the rest could keep their hands clean. And if Jay really played a part in that, then we're looking at one of the biggest betrayals hip-hop has ever seen. Two kings of the culture, once brothers in business, now locked in a silent battle for survival. Diddy's stuck in a legal storm while Jay's empire shines brighter than ever, expanding from music to global influence. Rivalries in this world aren't new, but this one, it feels like an empire coup. Loyalty traded for legacy, all behind velvet curtains and billion-dollar boardrooms. Now it's not about brotherhood, it's about brand image, power, and who controls the next headline. In Hollywood, betrayal isn't emotional, it's strategy. Moves are made in silence, and every connection has an expiration date. Think about it. Diddy's downfall didn't just protect certain names, it cleared the entire lane for others to rise even higher. That's the ugly truth about fame. Loyalty fades fast when survival and status are at stake. Nobody's safe when the game's about staying on top. But here's the real twist. While fans keep debating whether Jay sold Diddy out, some believe Diddy's crash was bound to happen eventually. He's no innocent outsider. He's been dancing on the edge of controversy since day one. This arrest isn't the beginning of his story, it's just the latest chapter in a long, chaotic legacy that started way back in the early 90s, when a young, fearless Diddy burst onto the scene with sky-high ambition and a hunger to control every room he walked into. Diddy turned Bad Boy Records into a straight-up empire, launching stars like Biggie and Faith Evans, running the charts like he owned them. The man looked unstoppable. But behind all that glitz and glamour were constant whispers, secret deals, quiet favors, and threats that made people fall in line fast. Diddy wasn't just a businessman, he was a power player who ruled the game with an iron grip no matter who got left behind. From the very start, his rule was simple: dominate or disappear. In that ruthless world, enemies stacked up fast. Sudden firings, shady payoffs, and backdoor deals that never made the headlines. And somehow, every single time, Diddy walked away untouched. People couldn't stop asking, how did he always come out clean when everyone else got caught in the crossfire? One of the biggest stains on his record goes back to 1999, that infamous nightclub chaos in New York that left 3 people hurt and careers shaken. Diddy, Jennifer Lopez, and his young protege Shine were all caught in the middle of it. But when the dust settled, guess who took the hit? Shine did time while Diddy walked away free. The streets never believed that story was clean. Whispers said Diddy pulled strings to protect himself, letting his rising artist carry the blame. After that, his reputation as untouchable only grew stronger, or maybe more dangerous. Every time things got close, Diddy had an escape plan ready. Lawyers, cash, and powerful friends always seemed to smooth the way. It was like no matter what storm hit, he had a shield nobody else could touch. Diddy always had a way out. No matter how bad things looked, he found an escape hatch every single time. But that kind of reputation doesn't come without a price. When you move like that for years, intimidating rivals, dominating business deals, and playing power games, you build enemies and lots of them. And now, many believe those enemies finally got their revenge. The wildest part, some of them might have been his own people, the ones who called him family. They flipped to save themselves when things started to crumble. Because the truth is, Diddy's empire wasn't just built on talent, it was built on control, fear, manipulation, and loyalty that only lasted as long as the checks kept clearing. Once that control cracked, everyone scattered fast. So while fans keep debating whether Jay played a hand in his downfall, one thing's undeniable. Diddy's past finally caught up with him. Whether it's betrayal, karma, or both, the fall of this mogul feels like the final chapter in a story decades in the making. Over the years, Diddy's been hit with more lawsuits than most can count, but they always seem to vanish. No public trials, no verdicts, just quiet settlements and closed doors. People started asking what secrets were being buried under all that hush money. Former assistants, employees, even old business partners claim mistreatment, manipulation, and missing checks, but those stories disappeared fast. That kind of silence doesn't come cheap. It screams cover-up, and here's where the conspiracy gets wild. What if Diddy wasn't just paying people off, but actually had protection from the inside? For years, whispers have floated around that he had deep ties with certain officials, maybe even connections high enough to keep him shielded. Sounds unreal, right? But it could explain how he dodged scandal after scandal without ever facing a real courtroom showdown. That's not luck. That's power at a level most people can't even imagine. Here's where the theory gets wild. Some say Diddy had leverage. According to whispers, he was secretly feeding the feds information, keeping them satisfied while they kept him protected. The timeline fits almost too perfectly. Every time a major scandal hit, whether it was lawsuits, raids, or public drama, Diddy somehow came out spotless. Always calm, always smiling, always above the mess. That's not coincidence. That's a serious power move. The rumor really caught fire after the tragic 1997 loss of Biggie. The streets were crushed, and the investigation quickly turned messy. Diddy publicly denied knowing anything, but whispers claimed he quietly worked behind the scenes, pointing the spotlight somewhere else to keep his own name out of danger. Imagine that. Cooperating privately while grieving publicly. That's cold strategy if it's true. And then there's the long, brutal feud with Suge Knight, the center of the East versus West chaos that shaped a whole decade of hip-hop and left both Biggie and Pac gone far too soon. Some folks believe Diddy's rumored federal connections kept him one step ahead of Suge the entire time. Survival mode, always active. There's never been solid proof, but the story refuses to die, painting Diddy as a man who built his empire not just with music and money, but with information, alliances, and protection from the inside. He played the game so well until it finally flipped back on him. But Diddy's controversies didn't stop with street rumors or federal whispers. They went straight into how he treated his own people. Former bad boy artists have been calling him out for years, saying he built his fortune off their loyalty while keeping them locked in tight, unfair contracts. Remember Mace? He's been loud for decades, accusing Diddy of preaching black ownership in public while keeping his artists stuck in deals that stripped away their earnings. It's the kind of double life that made Diddy both respected and resented, all at once. Mace once said Diddy preached empowerment in public, but acted like a gatekeeper behind closed doors, and he's not the only one saying it. Artists who once called him family now claim he used their loyalty like currency, twisting contracts, withholding royalties, shelving projects the moment they started to outshine him. Diddy didn't just build an empire, he built it on other people's dreams, and when the checks cleared, they were left with crumbs while he cashed in big. The irony is wild. For decades, Diddy looked completely untouchable. Every lawsuit, every rumor, every whisper somehow slid right off him. He always had the next move ready, like he was playing chess while everyone else was still learning checkers. But not this time. With his arrest and federal pressure rising, the cracks in his empire are finally showing. The same industry that once shielded him is backing away fast, and the same friends who stood shoulder to shoulder with him, they vanished overnight. Now everyone's in survival mode, protecting their image, their brand, their money. Nobody wants to go down with the ship. Whether Jay-Z played a part or not, Diddy's got a long line of people who'd love to see him fall. Artists, ex-partners, rivals, even former lovers. Too many bridges burned, too many secrets whispered in the dark. And eventually that kind of energy always circles back. And it looks like it finally has. But here's the question that's driving fans crazy. If Diddy really had inside protection all these years, why didn't it save him this time? Some believe he broke his deal, stopped cooperating, and became a liability. Others think the game changed, that he was quietly sacrificed once he outlived his usefulness. Either way, it's one of the coldest downfalls hip-hop's ever seen. And if the theory's true, if Jay-Z or anyone from that elite circle helped pull the strings, then this isn't just betrayal. It's a power shift that might have rewritten the whole industry overnight. It's official. This might go down as one of the biggest takedowns in hip-hop history. Imagine being powerful enough to help take down your own friend just to protect your empire. That's straight up Shakespeare-level betrayal. No matter which version of the story you believe, one thing's for sure. Diddy isn't innocent in this. He built his entire legacy on manipulation, control, and controversy. And now that same energy has come back to swallow him whole. Whether he was set up or finally caught slipping, the truth stings either way. The same game he mastered for decades is now playing him. For years, Diddy had the world at his feet. Fame, fortune, and influence that reached every corner of the industry. But now, he's sitting behind bars, surrounded by silence, wondering how it all vanished so fast. Betrayed by friends, forgotten by fame, and haunted by the ghosts of choices he thought he buried long ago. So what do you think? Did Jay-Z and the industry elite really turn their backs on Diddy? Or did Diddy create his own downfall by chasing too much power for too long? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This one's got everyone divided. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist in this wild story, because trust me, this saga is far from over. See you in the next one.